Okay, in the last class we have started with locator strategies. Right, we have 8 types of locator strategies in Selenium. Right, what are they? ID, name, link text, partial link text, class name, tag name, CSS, and expert. Right, we have seen yesterday's class ID, name, class name, tag. Right, these four. Anyone has any questions? Right, I am not repeating again. If you have any questions, are you okay with these things? By ID name, class name, tag name. Right. If you are having doubts, please ask. Right. Otherwise, I will move to link test and partial link test. Okay, fine. We'll move to link test and partial link test. Right. When to use link test and partial link test. Suppose if I go. Right. Suppose there is a forget password. Right here, forget password. Sign in with the passkey. Create an account. Alright, these are all some of the links. Right, links will have right a tag, anchor tag. The links will have a anchor tag. Right, these links we can right. What we will do on the link, we can click on the links. Right, we can click on the links. Right, now I want to click on any link. Right, but we can use either link text or partial link text. Right. A link text means we have to give the entire text in between the A tag what it is. Suppose forget password. I have to give forget password question mark. Right. I have to give forget password question mark for link text. For partial link text means we can give the partial text of it. Right. Without question mark we can give the forget password. Right. Or otherwise I can give only password. I can give only forget. Right. Link text means we have to give the entire text of the link. Partial link text means only partial text of the link. I can give partial text. Right? Just we'll see. Right. We'll create one more plugins. File. Okay, just verify links. Verify links test. Okay. Right. Already we have a before method. Chrome driver already created. Right. Just we need to open the URL. Right. Driver dot get. Another we have to write driver dot find element right by dot we have to use the link text to handle the link text. Partial link text will work only for the links, only for the links. Right, we have to copy. Suppose I want to click on the forget password link. Right, we have to copy this. Right, forget password link. Right, while copying, right, just to remove. If you have any spaces before and after, just to remove it. Right, then dot click on it. Right, I want to click on it. Right, click on the link. Forget password. Okay, fine. Just I am writing thread.sleep just to make sure whether it is right. We are able, we can see. Otherwise, right, immediately it will close browser. Right. It is a right. Just I'm waiting. In real time, we will not use. Right. In real time, we will not use thread.sleep. It is just for a way to see the how the flow is going on. Just I have added. Okay. Okay, so open the project. Okay, see now it is clicked on forget password. Right, it is opened a new one. Right, then we will see same thing we will work with. I will remove the question mark. I will remove the question mark and then we can use the partial link text. Right, partial link text we will see. I have removed the question mark. We'll see it will click on partial link text. And partial means we can give the partial text of the link so that it should click on the target. But we have to make sure that partial text should match only one link. Right? See, it is now clicked on it. Right. If we give something password, if two links are matching, it will click on the first matching one. Right? We have to make sure that also. Right. Now I want to click on this sign in. Right. Sign in with this is not a anchor tag. See, this is not a anchor tag. We cannot click on it. Right. Create an account. Okay. Create an account is the anchor tag. Right. A tag. Right. We can use that. Right. Now after clicking this element, it is moved to right another page. Right. Now how to come back? How to come back? Driver dot. Right. I think we have learned something. Can anyone tell? Driver dot navigate. Right. We have learned navigation commands. Driver dot navigate dot back. Right. We can come back. Then again we can click on that driver dot find element by dot link text create account. Right. Once we click on the forget password, what will happen? It will move to another page. Right. Now we need to come back. Right. We can driver dot navigate dot back. Then it will come to again starting page. We can click on the create account. Right. We'll see. Click on run. Right. Very very important locator. So please practice it. Right. Right. Click that. Right. Navigate back and again click on it to create account. Right. Fine. Right. Link text and partial link text are used for the to handle the links. Right. That not all the links, only anchor tags which have a links which has tag a tag. Right. Other links if other than a tag we cannot handle link text partial link text only which has a tag. Right. These are the right first six locator strategies by ID, name, link text, partial link text, class name, tag name. Right. Suppose if I want to print all the links in the page. Right. Suppose I want to print all the links in the page. Right. How to do it? Right. I want to print all the links of the page. Right. Now we have to find the driver dot find elements. Right. Now we want more than one element. Right. We want more than one element. Right. Driver dot find elements. Right. Then by dot tag name. Right. By dot tag name. Which tag name we want? A tag. Right. We want all the A tags. All the A tags. Right. Then what it will return? What is the return type find elements? It will return a list of web elements. Right. List of web elements. Right. All the links. Right. Driver dot find elements. It will return more than one element. Right. All the links of the page. Suppose if you want to get any other thing, right, we can also, right, we can use just tag name, we will get. Right now I want to iterate one by one, right? I want to iterate one by one. How to iterate? Right, we have to iterate for each loop. We can use the for each loop, and then we have to do the all the right list, and then what is the each link type of element. Right, then we can print the get text of the link. And suppose if we want to print the link, right, href tag means it will have every link will have some href tag. That is the link to the another page. Right, that attribute is right. That is DOM attribute we have to use. That attribute is deprecated. Right, we have to use the DOM attribute. If you want. Right now, just run it. What it will do, it will fetch all the links, and then just it will print the what is the text of the link and the href tag. Right, it got printed. Right, first one is skip content, and then forget password, create an account. Right, there are some spaces also. Right, suppose I don't want to print spaces. I want to ignore these spaces. Right, I want to ignore these spaces. Right, then what we have to do? Right, we can store it in the string, right, something link text. Then before printing, just we will verify. Right, if link text is blank. Right, suppose I will print not blank. We will add a not. That means if it is not a blank, then only print it. Otherwise, ignore it. Right. If it is not blank, link is right. Link is not blank, then only print it. Blank means what? What it will verify? It will verify both space or empty space or without giving empty space. Suppose only double quotes, it will verify either double quote, right? Either only double quote, or sometimes we can give right like this also, right? A space, it will ignore all these cases, right? Or null. Suppose if it is a null, in these cases, right, it will not print it, right? Only if it contains a text, then only it will print it. Right? Let me run it. Okay. That's it. Now spaces are there is no spaces. Oh, we forget to print this one. Link text we have to keep it right system but out of print. Okay. We will keep both in the same line. Right, so that here we can give append some space. Okay. Then both we can print in the same line. Right now run it again. Okay. Now it is printed without any spaces. Right. Skip content, forget password, create an account, terms, privacy, docs. These are all the links and these are all the href. Right. When we click on it, it will move to this link. Right. That is the link. Okay, fine. Right. Like this, we can handle link text, partial link text. Right. Locators. Right. Next one is we will see. right? CSS, right? One more important one, CSS, right? What is the right syntax of the CSS? Right? What is the syntax of CSS syntax? Right? Right. It has a tag name, right? Square brackets. Right. We can use the tag name and then right, a tag name, square brackets, and then attribute, attribute, attribute key equal to attribute val, attribute val. Right. Tag name, square brackets, attribute key equal to single quotes, attribute val. This is the syntax of the CSS. And the CSS, sometimes we can also write right ID. Suppose the tag has an ID, we can identify like this hash ID. With the hash, we need to give that is become CSS. Right? With if we give with the hash driver dot find element, right by dot CSS, we will give with the hash. Then it will become CSS. Right? Or dot class name. Right? We can give dot class name with the dot. We have to give with the dot that is become CSS. Right? We can give ID, right? Tag name and we can also give. Suppose I want to give input which has a ID. I can give tag name hash ID, right? Like this also, or tag name dot class, right? I can give like this also, so that we can easily identify. Okay, ID is the input tag, right? The we are identifying input tag which has a ID. Right. These are also some of the CSS to identify the by using CSS. Right. Just we will verify these things. Right. 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 We already right said. Right. Suppose if we want to identify this, it has an ID. Right. How to identify controller hash. If we have if you want to identify with ID hash, login. Right. This is if you give entire thing in the code, that will become CSS with hash. And class name also, right? Class, how you will identify? Suppose I want to identify this class dot, right? If you want to identify using class dot, right? Suppose if I want to identify using a name, right? For name, right? A name we don't have any shortcut, right? We can use the CSS, right? What is the CSS? We can give tag name and then square brackets input attribute key. What is the attribute key? Name. Right, attribute key is the name, value is the login. Value is the equal to single quotes login. Let's see, now it is identifying one of one. Right, input tag is optional. Right, input tag name is optional. Tag name is optional. We can give, either we can ignore. Right, what is the syntax of CSS? Tag name, square brackets, attribute key, attribute value. If we don't have ID and class, right, we have to identify like this by using the CSS. Right, yesterday's right, this one orange theorem. Suppose I want to identify this admin. Right, if you don't have any ID or name, right, ID name. So we cannot identify by using ID name. Right, so what it has a name or placeholder. It has a name attribute, it will have placeholder attribute it has. Right, I can copy it. Right, by using the placeholder, we can. Right, what is the CSS syntax? Directly square bracket, attribute key, attribute value. Right, Tag name is optional. You can give either you can give or ignore. Right. If you don't have any idea or name, we can go for the next locator is CSS selector. Right. By using any attribute. Right. Here, whichever is unique attribute, we can by using that we can create the CSS. Right. Then we can also have a multiple attributes. We can also have a multiple attributes. Sometimes what will happen with a single attribute, we cannot identify the element. Right. Sometimes we cannot identify with a single attribute. In those cases, what we will do by using multiple attributes. Suppose we will come here. Suppose right input type equal to text. Right, input type equal text. How many are identified here? Four elements. One of four means four elements are identified. Right, input type equal to text. Four elements are there. Right, if we use only this type attribute, we are saying four elements. So what we will do in this case? Right, then we can add one more attribute name equal to suppose login. Right, we can add like this multiple attributes. Right, more than one we can do. Right, just a square bracket. We have to give first attribute, second attribute. Right, like this multiple attributes also we can use in the CSS to identify. Right, right. One more. Right, one more is substring matches. Right, substring matches. What is substring matches? Right, suppose I have a input tag. Okay, input tag. It has a ID. Suppose I have a ID like login 1 to 3. If I have a login 1 to 3. Similarly, I have one more. Suppose 1 to 3 login 1 to 3 login, and I have one more scenario. Suppose 1 to 3 login. Right, these numbers are changing every time dynamically. Right, when I suppose when I refresh the browser, when I open the new browser, what is happening? These numbers are changing dynamically. That means these numbers are not constant. Right, sometimes it will come 1 to 3. Sometimes again, if I open browser 4 5 6. That means if we use this locator, it will only work first time. Second time, if you open the browser, it will change. It will fail our locators. Right, how to handle the dynamic locators? Right, these are all dynamically changing, but some part is fixed. But some part is fixed. Then we can go for a substring matches. Right, substring matches. Right. Uh, Here what we will do? Right, ID. Right, ID starts with. Right, starts with means cap symbol. Right, cap symbol. Where is this cap symbol? Okay, cap equal to log. Right, I want to find the input tag. Input tag. Right, input tag which has ID. Input tag which has ID starts with login. Right, what is this locator means? Input tags which has ID starts with login. Identify that element. Right. Similarly, here login is end position, right? Not in start position. In this case, what we can do? We can use the one more dollar. Dollar means end. Dollar means end. It will verify login will be end. Right here it is in the middle or anywhere. Suppose if it is in the middle, then what we can do, we can use the star means anywhere, either starting position, end position, or middle position. Right? We can use star for any position. Right? But cap symbol means it will starts with right input tag which has the ID starts with login. Right here input tag ID which ends with login. Here contains anywhere. Right, then we will see just some practical, we'll understand it. Hmm. Okay, fine. That is just we will identify this right authenticity token. This is a hidden element. Okay, hidden element. Okay, we'll take this one label then. We'll say and label for okay something. Suppose I want to identify with the login. Let's say it is not able to identify. In that case, that's what we will do. We will use the cap symbol, right? See now it is identified. That means starts with label which has a tag for right attribute. Label which has a attribute for starts with login. Right? It is identified. Suppose similarly I want to field. Right? I want to field. Right? Which has a ends with the field. Right now what we can do? We can do the dollar. Let's say it also it is identified. Right? A star we can use right anywhere, either starting position, end position, middle position, anywhere we can use the star. Right, that is the substring matches. Right, the substring matches. Right, if anyone has a question not understand, please let me know. Right, cap means starts with, dollar means ends with, star means anywhere. Right, next one is if we want to find the child element. If you want to find the child element, there is a greater than symbol. Greater than symbol. Right, child elements. Right. Sometimes we cannot directly identify the element. In those cases, we have to identify first parent, then we need to identify the child. Okay. Mm, anything we can take. A form. Okay, we will take this. I want to identify first form. Right, I want to identify first form tag. Form, square brackets, action. Right, I think three are identified. Right, that's what. Okay, session starts with. Starts with means we can use the caption. Right, but starting position is the slash, right? We have to use the end position. Session has a end. Right, action which has the end. And suppose if I want to find these childs, right, input tag, right? These are all childs, input label, right? These are all. Then we have to use the greater than symbol. Suppose I want to find all the inputs. Alright, see, only input tags it will identify. Right. Suppose if we want to only label, right? Suppose if we want only label, right? Then greater than label. So, No form is. Oh, it's not identifying. So, okay. Oh, ends with right. Something control Z I pressed. Right. Ends with right. Then greater than label. Right. If you want to identify parent and child. Right. Suppose I have a tag structure. Right. I have a input. Right. Input tag. Then input has a child. Something input has a child div tag. Right. Right. Input will not like form. Form tag which has a some input tag. Right. These are all input tag and then div tag. Right. These are all childs of the form. Right. Those are all childs of the form. Or we can graphical representation also. We can take it. Right. These are all right. That is the here form is the parent. Right. Here form tag is the parent one. Right. Remaining right input. Right. These input tags and label. Right. Label. These are all childs of the form tag. Childs of the form tag. Right. These are all also called as a siblings. These are all called siblings. Right. This is the parent. These are all siblings. Like if you take our family also, brothers and sisters. Right. These are all called siblings. Right. Above one is the parent. Right. Same level elements are called siblings. Right. Right. Then if you want to identify this form is the parent. Now input. Right. If you want to identify child tag, right? Child input tag. Right. What we have to do first identify the form tag. Right. First we need to identify form tag. Right. A form which has some suppose ID, which has some ID XYZ suppose. Then we have to use the greater than symbol and then input. That means it will return all the input tags. Right. Which are how many input tags are there? Two are there. It will return two. Suppose if we want to filter again, suppose we can filter by using it has any attribute ID. Suppose if it has some other, alright, then we can use that attribute and filter out of two, we can filter one. Right, like this. Greater than symbol are used to find the child. Right, next one is siblings. Right, we can use to find out sibling. By using one sibling, I want to find out another sibling. Right, then we can go for a plus symbol. Right, suppose, right, here first I will identify this name. Okay, first I identify. These are all siblings, right? Input, label, input. These are all same level. These are all siblings. First I will identify this add account. Right, add account. First I will identify add account. Okay, add account. Now I want to find out below sibling. Right, CSS we can identify only below siblings. Above siblings we cannot identify. Right, above siblings we cannot identify. Only below siblings. Right, plus then label. Right, see, it is identified add account below sibling label. Or suppose below sibling input. Right, it will not identify because it will identify only immediate sibling. Right, immediate sibling. Right, input label. Right, immediate sibling is label. Then again, if you want right input like this, we have to identify next input. Right, directly we cannot identify. Directly we cannot identify. Right, directly if you give plus, it will not work out. Right, there is a one more thing, tilde symbol. Right, if you want to identify directly, right, if you want to identify directly, right, then tilde symbol is there, right, in the following sibling, right, in the following siblings, wherever it will identify. Plus means immediate sibling, right, plus means immediate sibling. There is a one more is a tilde symbol, right, that means it will identify out of following sibling, which one is input tag, it will identify. Right, plus and tilde. Plus means immediate sibling, right, tilde means wherever it is. In the below only, in the below only. Right, in CSS we can identify only following siblings. Right, above one are called preceding siblings. Right, above siblings we cannot identify by using CSS. Right, only below siblings we can identify by using plus or tilde. Plus means immediate sibling, tilde means anyway. Right, and then right, and then right. Mostly these are the CSS different combinations of identifying CSS by using CSS select. Right, what are the different combinations we have? Right, we can have a use normal syntax of CSS is tag name square brackets attribute key equal to attribute value. Attribute key equal to attribute value. Right, we can have right with hash ID, right with the dot class name. Right, we can also have a tag name with ID, tag name with ID, or tag name with class name, dot class name. Right, these are also CSS selectors. Right, these are also syntax of the CSS selectors. Right, then we have a right substring matches. Right, substring dynamic locators handling. Right, attributes are changing dynamically. Then we can use right either starts with tilde, ends with means dollar, anywhere star. And the child, if you want to identify child, greater than. If you want to identify siblings, we can use the plus or tilde. Right, just we will see one example. Then we will see this example. Right, we'll take this. Right, fine. Let me quickly create required CSS selector test. Okay, fine. Now driver dot get off. First open this URL. Right now I want to driver dot find element. Okay, but find element by dot CSS selector. By dot CSS selector. We have to give the CSS selector for this username. Right, how to give? First inspect it. Write a name, username. Right, we can use the name, username. Right, we can if you want control F and control just square brackets, and then we can verify. Right. Then we can use that locator. Right. Right. If we use the double quotes, we have to give the slash. Right. If you want to use the double quote, either we can use single quotes or double quotes. If you want to use the double quotes, we have to give the slash before that. Right. So it must be always better to use single quotes only. Right. That is always right. Better to use single quotes. If you want to use right. Sometimes what will happen? Locator will also contain a single quote. Right. Inside locator also it will contain a single quote. In those cases, we have to use the double. Suppose if it is like this, right? A single quote is there like this. Now it will confuse, right? Which one is the exact locators up to here or up to here? Then in those cases, we have to give the double quotes, right? Now it is a there is no special characters, so directly we can give single quotes. Right? What is the username admin? We have already okay. Now next one, right? Password. Okay, what is the name? Password. Right? Password. Driver dot find element by dot CSS selector password and just send it is what is the password password. Right, next one is I want to click on this. Right, I want to click on this button. Right, button what it has uh, class. Right, it has a multiple classes. But I will take this one. Last one. Orange HRM button. How to identify dot right? Control F dot right. If you keep right, suppose I want to keep like this. So the driver dot find element by dot CSS selector we can give with the dot. If we give with the dot, that will become CSS. If we don't give dot right, it will not work. You have to use in that case without dot means you have to use class name. Right with the dot CSS selector. Right then I have to click on it. Right, I want to click on it. I want to click on it. All right. Once we click on it, right. Usually, right, whether login is success or not. Right, we have to verify something. Login or success or not. Right, how to verify? We can validate any element right after login. Suppose if I try to validate this, right, header is coming the dashboard or not. Right, what it has some class name. Right, we can use. We can copy this just to verify. Control F dot. Right, always it should match one of one. Right, make sure that it should always one of. Right now, okay, verify login is successful or not. Driver dot find element. Okay, this header. Then what I will do? Okay, store it in a bubble. Okay, right, fine. Then we'll validate this. If element is displayed, right, if it is displayed login success or failed. Right, if we keep like this, what will happen? If it is not displayed also, right, if it is not displayed also, it will get success only, right? Because these are simple system dot out dot printing. It will not do anything. Just it will print. That's it, right? So exceptions, right? I already told you. If you are writing any text case means it should have at least one exception, right? Then accept dot accept true, right? Already displayed, right? Already it is displayed. I am expecting true. Login was success. Now suppose if it is login is not right, it is not displayed, then login was failed. But we have to keep it as a asset false. Right, we are expecting true, but it is false. Right, login was failed. Right, fine. Hmm. Okay, then just to quickly run it. Right, just to practice the locator CSS selector, very important. That you have to practice on multiple websites how to identify those, then you will familiarize. If you don't practice, well, what is happening? That's it. We are getting something we have written somewhere wrong. Invalid selector exception. An illegal selector. Where, where is illegal selector? Something we have written wrong. See here, square brackets we did not give. Right. Right. In CSS means what is the syntax? We have to give the square brackets. Right. Right. Run it again. Okay. Again it is failed. Why it is failed now? No such element exception. Because it is taking time. Right. It is taking time to load. Right. But immediately what is happening? It is taking some time to load. But immediately it is trying to find the next element. They are trying to enter the text. But that is not available. Right. We are getting no such element. Right. Now, for now, just what I will do. Right. After creating the driver, just I will add the some implicit weight. Right. We will see later what is it. Start timeouts dot implicit weight. Implicit weight in Selenium. This is the Selenium 3 syntax. Right. 10 and then time unit. Right. This is the Selenium 3 syntax. Selenium 4 syntax what duration of seconds. We have to give the duration import java.time.duration. We have to use the duration of second. This is the Selenium 4 syntax. Right. Just implicit wait I am giving 10 seconds. That means what will happen? It will wait for 10 seconds before throwing the exception. Right. Those things we will learn later. Right. Just run it again. Okay, fine. Okay. Now it is success. Right. Now successfully executed. Right, fine. Right, take the multiple websites, right? Take multiple websites and practice the locators. You can take the Amazon.com or Flipkart.com, right? Myntra.com. There are a lot of things are there. These are all links. See, right? You can try to write the code, get the all the links, right? Right, and how to write here search element is there, right? How to enter the text here, right? It has a ID, right? Directly we can or class name, right? It has. Right, you can try on different websites, right, these locators up to whatever we have learned, so that you will get familiarized. If you don't practice, you will forget again. You will be in the same state only. Right, please practice. Right, anyone has any questions? Any questions? Any